It's Friday, and we are off to another awesome start with amazing guests on the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I've had the opportunity to interview not one, but now a second individual today, and we get to really pour into this individual and learn from them, extract that knowledge, and use it so that we can apply it in our daily life. Before I introduce our guest, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Welcome to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. My name is Jon Kovach Jr. I am your host, founder of the Champion Circle Networking Association, coming to a city near you. As we expand our methodologies and take it from city to city, we're looking for leaders who want to take our networking capabilities and put it to use and put it to the grind, and it is absolutely fun and amazing. Without any further explanation, I have to throw in there that our book, The 13 Steps of Riches, is on fire right now. You can hear that. I literally got the hardback copy, which was a plan in the making. This is a 13-volume book series that we've continued to author based on the principles of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And copy number 1, volume 1, has officially given me a hard copy, which is kind of fun. We've had the paperbacks and the ebook so far, but again, another one bestseller. But with enough of that. I know you guys are like, John, you talk about this every single day. I do. And for those of you listening to this on our podcast channels, happy Monday. We appreciate you. You rock. And wherever you are in the world, this is your opportunity to accept and receive another influence of knowledge, a wealth of knowledge, and take that knowledge and make it immediate and put it into action, because that is really why we do this. Selfishly, I start the show because I want to learn and I want to be front row with some of the most amazing people in this world so that I too can learn from them and use what I know. I don't walk away from an episode and say, well, that was cool to listen to. No, it's not entertainment for me. This is application, and all of it is being put into use. As somebody who is, started training for the Olympics, to building multiple businesses, to speaking on international stages, I have yet a lot to learn. And as you can tell through my voice and the excitement and my energy and the stuttering, I do have a lot to learn. Today's guest is an individual who I've learned to connect with here on a podcast platform that's really, really incredible. This person is John C Morley, and I can't wait to just get to know him and pour into him. But John is an amazing character, a wonderful professional. And let me tell you a little bit more about him. You see, John C Morley is a serial entrepreneur. He's an engineer. He's a marketing specialist, a national talk show host. He is in the Franklin Lakes Volunteer Ambulance Squad member, which is super cool. I can't wait to learn more about that. He also has a daily motivation video blog called the John C Morley Serial Entrepreneur. It's on his Serial Entrepreneur Facebook page. You can go and check it out, and all of the links will be in our bio. John in college started his own, let's call it it's a tech company called JCM Son Associates. In college, he started this with technology, and he has so much more to offer. Many, many amazing products and services and things that he's continued to work, but he is serving the people. It's what I found out in my research about him. In 2020, John started being called the father of LinkedIn, with now close to over 4,000 connections because of his unique way of getting people curious in him and what he does, which makes me curious in what he does more. And I hope you do as well. And the last thing I want to share is that John is all the host of the national talk show, the JMOR, the JMOR Tech Talk Show, and a local TV show in Princeton, New Jersey, and the host of Inspirations for Your Life, a new daily show to improve the quality of your life and those around you. Stumbling over my words here because I am just excited to bring John on the show. John, thank you for joining me today. How are you, my friend?
How are you, John? It's great to be here.
And you were just telling me backstage that it's a not record, but it's a little bit warmer today in New Jersey than normal.
Yeah, we're celebrating because it's starting to get into the early 30s. Any day that it's, I guess, above like 10 or really above -7, we could celebrate when it's not single digits.
That's amazing. Well, I really appreciate it that you're coming to my show, that you're going to pour into these audience members with some knowledge. But tell us, with you were saying that we were going to talk, in a little bits here, but tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background. Obviously, you've done an amazing thing. You've been business oriented since college or even earlier. Tell us about John and who you are and how you became to who you are today.
So just a quick little recap of that, because that story could take a month. But basically, in school, we started, and I knew that when I was in college that I didn't want to work for anybody. I knew that. If I had to, it might be part-time.
Yeah.
And so I started JCM in Son Associates. That was after a little bit of time. But when I was a junior, I said, I bet I can help people, because there's a lot of people that don't know technology. Not that I do, but I seem to know it more than everybody else did. And my friends are like, you really should start a business. And I'm like, nah. And one of my friends is like, I know some people that could use your help. I said, well, I'll start a service on campus. $10. Now, we don't charge that rate anymore. It's a little higher. $10, not per hour, not per minute, for the entire support call. So we can't do that today and make money. And if you're on the phone, it's $5. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there was a gentleman who was actually a year behind me. He was a freshman, and he was having problems with his computer. So I figured, okay, my first client. Yes. His name was Matt. I went to go see him, and I said, Matt, what's up? And he says, oh, nothing. He says, I'm having problems with the computer. I said, what's not working? He says, well, I can't play, and I forget the name of the game. I can't play this game. And I said, you got me over here because you can't play a game? Yeah, but it's not just any game. I mean, this game is like... So I was like, all right. I said, what's wrong with the game? He said, it doesn't load. What do you mean it doesn't load? It just keeps saying out of memory. Okay. And this is the time when memory was conventional. It was not extended. We could not... This is the days of, I'm going to say, of Windows, where we had mostly Windows using the lower conventional memory. That's all we had. We didn't have anything above it. And these old DOS programs wouldn't even be able to use that extended memory. So even though we had Windows using some of the extended, they only could use the higher stuff and the lower, but the program had to use conventional, which is only 640K, which no computer has 640K. We're looking at 4 gigs, 16 gigs, 32. The one I'm talking to you now has 64 gigs of RAM, but we use video production on it as well. So pacing ahead, I said, what's going on? He says, well, the program won't load. So I said, well, give me a few minutes. He says, you want a drink or something? I said, okay. I'm playing around with it. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a pain. Because he had all these, what we call TSRs. Now, this might date me back for a while. It's called TSRs, terminate and stay resident programs. Your antivirus was a TSR that would load at DOS at boot time. That doesn't happen anymore. It's now part of the operating system of Windows. When it loads the program then. It doesn't load at the DOS level. So he had all these other programs in there, like Menu Maker and all kinds of stuff. And then he had things like things that were supposed to optimize your hard drive. And there were a bunch of them. And so if they don't load in the right order, what we call contiguous order, well, then you're going to have holes. You're going to have gaps. And so what I needed to do was kind of put together like a puzzle and figure out where to load this game driver so that it could load properly and not waste too much space, and then it could load. This took me a while. It was about 2 hours, and it was now getting late. Now we're 4 hours, and it's getting into midnight. And I have class the next morning. He's like, John, don't worry about it. He's like, I'll still give you your $10. He says, don't worry about it. I said, no. I said, I'm going to go because I have class tomorrow at 8 o'clock, but I'll be back tomorrow after class at 4 o'clock. I came back at 4 o'clock. I spent another 2 or 3 hours. He's like, really, you don't have to do this. I said, no. I said, I deliver service. And so I was there another 4 hours. And I said, Matt, it's fixed. He said, really? Sits down. He's playing it. He's like, oh, my gosh. I said, I'll be $10. Oh, yeah, sure. He says, do you want more? I said, no, just $10. And we became friends. So then I realized that I had some knowledge. I also realized that the professors, because going to school there, they can have a little bit of, an entitlement attitude, that they're better than all of us. Like, And I always use the analogy, a gentleman puts his slacks on the same way other gentlemen do. Left foot first, right foot, or right foot, then left foot, right? And we pull them up, put a belt on, zip. Pretty standard process.
Yeah.
And so when I say that to them, they kind of give me like a shrug, like they're the professor. But yet they had a question about the computer. And I said, oh, you have a question for me about computers? Well, it's not about programming. It's just about the operating system. Yeah, sure. So they ask the question, but they always ask it quietly, like when no students are around, because they don't want anybody dare to find out that they asked somebody, that they belittled themselves to come down. And I think, John, what I've learned over the years is I try to be humble as much as I can. And I realize I'm not the expert in everything. I'm knowledgeable, but I'm always striving like you are to keep learning more, whether it's technology, because things keep evolving, ransomware, things keep constantly evolving, and you got to be at the top of your game. You really do. Or you're yesterday's news, right? So I decided that when I was in school, that I needed to take this to another level. And so when I graduated, my dad gave me a choice. John, do you want to go work for a company, or do you want to start your own, or do you want to start your own? If you start your own company, I'll give you some money, and you could take a 2-week vacation that we'll pay for you to go to Disney World or wherever. And so that's kind of what he wanted me to do. He's like, if you work for a company, he's like, I'm not going to give you a vacation, and I'm not really going to give you any money. So it sounded like I was being motivated more to go toward the passion of being a business owner, not an entrepreneur, not really a serial entrepreneur, but just an entrepreneur. Didn't even know what that word was really back then. And so then I got out, realized that I had a part-time business, and I started working for a government agency. I won't mention who. And they were treating me very badly, John. I was getting paid 1/10 of what I was worth, not now, but then. And I said to this lady who was like the Gestapo of the office, why is this like this? Well, we use government money, and I was their technical services coordinator. A little bit of a letdown for the role that I do now. So that was the person that fixed things, ordered things, procured things, was the all-around management team, just me, for all their schools. And I said, okay. And I said, I'm going to do this for a little while. It can't be too bad. It'll put some money in my pocket. It's part-time. It's flexible, about 15, 20 hours a week. I remember them getting on my case one time about something that, I didn't sign in one time. Another time, it was like 102 degrees. I went to one of the schools. And it normally takes me 18 and a half minutes to get back from that school. Well, today it took 24 minutes. Not a big difference. So I came in. I was about to sign in. She's like, oh, John. She says, where were you? I said, well, I was at school XYZ, and I drove here, and now I'm here. So you mean you left that school? And I went to that school, and you came here. So you left that school, and you came right here. I said, yeah, I left that school, and I came here. They're like, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, it was 102 degrees, so I think I did stop and get a water at the local store, which took like upwards of a minute. She's, aha, we got you. I said, what do you mean? You were stealing company time. I said, I got a bottle of water for $1 or $2, and I came here, and you're going to begrudge me that few minutes when sometimes I come in here early? Yep. Just saying. So this got to be a problem after a while, and I knew the writing on the wall, but I didn't want to give up. I was not a quitter. Still am not. And I went into the lady's office, the HR person. I'll call her Glenda for now. That's not her name. And I made the decision a few days. I said, I got to get out of this company. But I got to do it in a polite way, because even though I may not have the money, I just got to have my brain free so I can wrap myself around to do things. I'm getting too manipulated here, and I'm tired when I come home with the 20. I don't want to do anything. And people don't appreciate me here. So I go into her office. I had this all planned out. It was only 4 days before I was going to get fully vested with a pension. I walked into her office, and I said to her, good morning. I said, I just want to say thank you. She says, thank you. She said, well, you're welcome. I said, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, because this has been amazing. We have had a great run, and we're done. She looked at me and she says, what are you talking about? I said, I just want to say thank you for helping me to become a better version of myself and to help you and all these wonderful people and the students here to become better versions of themselves as well. She's like, are you feeling okay? I said, I'm feeling great. She says, well, you better get back to work because I know things. She says, okay, well, I have a few hours left. She said, well, you can finish the rest tomorrow. I said, no, maybe you don't understand. Today is my very last day with your organization. So you're quitting. I'm leaving to pursue other opportunities to grow my life. Oh, okay. Do you have your documents? That they're all right here. They're all signed. And did you want to do the exit interview? She's like, I think we've already done it. Okay, great. Well, listen, it was a pleasure. I'm sure you'll find somebody equally as good as me or 10 times better than me. There's lots of people out there. She went into shock, didn't say anything, and she was always very wordy. I walked outside to the management office, and there were people over there, and I said, oh, John, we're having a problem. I went to go help them, and I said, it's getting close to 5. I got to get going. She said, oh, yeah, it's all right. You leave. It's almost 5 o'clock. We all leave at 5 anyway. She said, well, you can just come in tomorrow and finish it tomorrow. I said, no, I can't. Oh, you're not coming in tomorrow? I said, no. She's like, oh, well, when are you going to come in? Like Thursday or Friday? Oh, well, Monday. I know you don't come in every day. Your schedule's kind of weird. I said, no, I'm not coming in. Well, we going on vacation? I said, no, I'm not coming back. Oh, John, I am so sorry for you. What do you mean? You're such a good guy, and I knew they were going to fire you. Fire me? They didn't fire me. To be very honest with you, I chose to leave this organization. Oh, okay. And it was just kind of like, they were just like snooty and they just moved on their way. And after that point, I realized that, you have to do some things in your life that are not always easy for you.
That's right.
Whether that be studying, whatever it is, you have to do these things. And so fast forward. I had a marketing and advertising company before I graduated college that was helping JCM. My friends always were toying with it, say, why do you own a paint company? I said, I don't have a paint company. Yeah, JCM Son's a paint company. You got to come paint our house? I said, no. Then change the name of that company. So I finally decided to change it one night, the JMOR Connection, and that stuck. But then I still had this excessively expensive company that a friend of mine got me roped into because his uncle worked there, and they got us a 60% discount. They're a publicly traded company. I'm not going to mention their name. They're in New York. They're still in business, unfortunately. And they're one of the largest publicly traded marketing advertising companies still in business today. And so about 10, 11 years ago, because we're in business about 30, 33 years young, I decided 11 years ago that I had enough. Like, it was just enough, John. But I said, I don't know what to do. Everybody kept telling my whole life, John, you're never going to be a marketer. You're never going to be an advertiser. You're an engineer. Let that to somebody else because you're never going to do that. You're not that kind of person. Oh. Yeah. And I just kind of accepted it. And after college, I decided that I needed to become a person that could set his own goals. Didn't know how to do that. I was one of the vice presidents of President's Council and also on the finance board. So I was the guy that signed the checks for our school for the student accounts. So I was the guy you'd come to for more money. I was the guy that took away your money at the end of the year when you didn't spend it. And so I had to give a check out to an entertainer for like $20,000. 2 checks, $10,000, $10,000. Now, I did some studying on him, and I said, I know what this guy does. He embarrasses, he humiliates his audience. He said, he ain't doing that with me. I walked up to him, and I said, Mr. Such and Such, it is a privilege and honor to be with you today, and I have your first check here. And I want to let you know that this you'll be able to cash this, as well as the second one, providing that you don't embarrass me or any one of my team members or call me up on stage to make us look like an idiot. Am I clear? Because you will not be able to cash that check on Monday. I'll make sure of it. You won't get the second one. And, did I let you know that we're friends with the Yale and the Harvard circuit and all those schools that you're going to be going to? I'll make sure that tour is canceled because they're just magically going to cancel their booking with you. I said, well, you better get going. The show's going to get started. Do we have an understanding? He's like, yes. Well, have a good show. I'm looking forward to it. I sat down, and the show went without a hitch. He called other people, embarrassed them. At the end of the show, I said, that was a great show. He's like, I said, thank you so much. Very professional. Oh, here's your other check. And I'll make sure to recommend you to the rest of our team and my friends. And maybe we'll have you come for the whole school next time. I decided I was going to buy one of his audio tapes because he had some good things, but I didn't agree with a lot of his teachings. I took the Silva method. By the way, if you take it, at that time it was $500 and I had a coupon for $200. It's good for life. You could take it as many times as you want. But I wasn't getting anywhere. So I said, well, how do you achieve your goals? In college, I went to these different hypnotists and people to help me achieve my goals. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this myself. Yep. I don't want to become this condescending doctor. I want to be somebody that respects others and helps them and doesn't placate them with their techniques. And I was tired of paying for things. So I decided to get certified in neurolinguistic programming, and I became a hypnotist. Now, I'm not practicing, but I have that ability. And I've helped some friends do things. But the reason I say this to you is I used it to manifest my very first goal. My first goal out of college, I got a used Chevy S10 Blazer, which was my first car. It was a white Blazer, nice car, used, had some miles on it. Very happy with it. But I wanted my first car, my first luxury car. So after that, my parents helped me and I bought a Jeep. But then I wanted something really like luxury. And so I took a picture of that car. At the time, I think it was an MDX Acura. I went and drove the car. I went and put it on my screen. I drove it. I felt it. I envisioned it. I smelled it. Every night I was in my chair and I was driving that Acura, feeling what it was going to be like, what it was going to sound like when she gave me directions. And my motivation was I was a lousy person when it came to directions. So I said, I want a car with the best navigation. At the time, Acura was the best navigation system on the market. And so in 6 months, John, that car was in my driveway.
Wow.
But fast forwarding ahead, so that's kind of why I did what I did. So that taught me that I'm starting to run other people's programs in my mind, John, and we all do this when we're born. There's things put in your head like you're never going to make any money. Now, when you say that to most people, they're like, they agree and it clicks. If you say that to me, John, you're never going to have any money. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, I can't click with that. That doesn't work with me. Like, you ever say something that's like, yes, I'm going to do that, or yes, I'm going to be this, or yes, I'm going to be here, or yes, I'm going to write a book, or yes, I'm going to have a great guest, and you can click with it. If you say to myself, well, I'm going to have a horrible guest, you can't click with that, can you? But money has this draw to people because we always hear the phrase radis malorum est cupiditas, which is greed is the root of all evil. So I said, I've been programmed going to a Catholic grammar school, high school. I've been programmed against my will. And I said, I got to stop this. And I realized the advertiser was doing the same nonsense. John, you're never going to be an advertiser. You're never going to be a marketer. You're never going to be a public speaker. You're never going to have a business. John, you're doing it. You're never going to be successful. I said, gee, John, you're doing this to yourself. Why are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't know. And I realized the one thing I had to realize is, okay, so I'm never going to be an advertiser, never going to be a marketer. So what would it look like if I was going to be a successful marketer and advertiser? Just what would it look like? Let's play a game. Well, maybe I'd start out having a small printing company. I don't know the first thing about printing. I know how the machines work, but I don't know how to do printing. I don't know graphic design to save my life. So I went to Xerox, we're a client of already, and we had one of the best copiers you could have at the time. It was a 230 ST copier, which did black and white and all that thing. And then we had upgraded to an even better copier that did color. Well, our lease was about to expire. So I went there with the premise, at least I thought, my reason for saying the meeting was to renegotiate a new lease. But I think in the back of my mind, I wanted more. It's kind of like we go into a relationship. We say, gee, we want to be friends. But we're hoping for more, aren't we? We say we want to be friends, but then we want more, but we don't want to pressure the other person because if it doesn't work out, we don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, I want to be a friend. And I'm open to building it and seeing where it goes. No pressure. So they took me out to breakfast. They took me out to lunch. And I fell in love with this machine that was 150. And so they said, John, we're going to need 150 to get started. I said, great. I'll reach into my wallet and I'll give you $150. I said, no. We mean 150,000. Well, you said 150. Well, we talk in thousands here. Great. I'm glad you don't talk in millions. He said, yeah, we talk, everything we talk is, when we say 1 or 2 or 50, we're talking 50,000. So when we told you there'd be an add-on for 10, that's not like $10, it's like 10,000. Oh. So we're talking about this machine. I love this machine. I said, I don't know the first thing about this machine, like training, the fiery. I don't know anything about it. And they said, don't worry, we'll throw in a 40-hour class for you. Buying a $150,000 machine, of course, they're going to throw a class in. We'll come to your facility. We'll train you. Now, remember, I didn't have a printing company. I had an IT company, and I had a little wing that I had room for this machine. And I could rent that machine to this new company for maybe $1 a month, just to make it kind of legal. And so I went to my bank, and I said, hey, bank, I need $150,000. Usually banks say no, right? They said yes when I told them what I was doing. And I said, oh. And they said, well, when do you want it? I said, well, maybe next week. Well, you could have it tomorrow. Oh, well, wait a minute. Let me come back to you. So I got approved with that. I went back to the copier company and I said, I want to do this, but unfortunately, my credit and opening a business, I didn't get the whole $150,000. Oh, John, sorry about that. Yeah, so unfortunately, I know we're probably not going to be able to do it. I'll tell you what we got. In fact, I'm embarrassed to tell you all they gave me, but it's what they did. They only gave me $135,000. I just didn't have enough credit. So, I guess we should shake hands and say goodbye. I'm sorry. What do I owe you for the lunch or the dinner? I want to pay you something. He's like, John, hold on a second. Have a seat. He goes back to his office. He comes back. He says, we're running a promotion this month. And it actually will get you right in line with that balance. I said, really? He said, yep. He said, it won't push you up anymore. Wow. I said, well, I guess I have the money then. I said, I guess we can do the deal. And I did my first negotiation, kept the rest of the money for some other equity that I used for some other things. So then what really happened, and then we'll get to some other important questions I'm sure you have, I decided to do a very bold thing. I decided that now that I knew how to use the machine, I still didn't have business, I decided to take a very bold move. Walk into that advertising agency, 7:30 in the morning. I knocked on Greg's door. Hey, Greg, good morning. John, it's great to see you, buddy. Nice to see you, too. Listen, you want some donuts? You want coffee? You want bagels? We got cinnamon buns. We got eggs. We got toast. We got muffins. No, I'm all good, Greg. I just want to come down here. And here's deja vu, John, to say thank you. Oh, you're welcome, buddy. Can we get you? I know you like water, right? Water's fine. I want to say thank you because we had a great run and we're done. Say that again. Hey, let me get a cup of coffee because my eyes are still kind of like, I just got here for minutes. I know you're an early bird. Yeah, hang on a minute. Let me get Chris in here, your sales rep. Hey, Chris, could you come in here a minute? I have Mr. Morley. Can you come over here? It's like, yeah, sure. He pops in within 30 seconds. John, how are you? It's good to see you, buddy. I'm good. How are you? Meanwhile, they've been taking money from me since I'm a junior in college, and my dad's paying because I didn't have any money. So I said, I said to him, I came here to say thank you. John, we got to show you Sharon and the team and Chris and Mike and Bob. They've been up all night working on a multi-million-dollar campaign. I mean, it's just going to bring in so much money. We can't wait to show it to you. Want to see it? No. We spent all night. No, just hold on a second. I want to come by here and say thank you to you for all the work you've done because you've been amazing. And we're done. You're saying thank you? We're done. Oh, we mean with the project and we're going to start something new? Well, we're actually done. Like our business relationship is done. I came in here a little while. Maybe I need to be a little more blunt. I came in here to see Greg this morning. And really what I was doing, hopefully Greg understands now, that I fired him in a polite way. And I was trying to do the same thing to you, but I guess I got to be more blunt. You're fired. Your team's fired. The company's fired. You're all fired. He sits there. He's like, you want to go get some breakfast? Maybe we can get you to have some sense. Let's take you over to the diner. We'll grab your coat. Let's talk about this. You're acting a little irrational right now. Let's get a nice warm breakfast in you, and you'll make some good decisions. It's like, oh, I'm good. He's like, I think Tina made those muffins that you really like. I said, I'm good. I don't want any of her muffins. He's like, you're going to pass up her muffins? You never pass up her muffins. I'm like, I don't want her muffins. Tell her no thank you, but thank you. And so they're just kind of like, well, what are you going to do, bro? Because, we've known you. Like, we go back so long. I mean, this is like below the belt. You're firing us. We're like that. I said, yeah. There have been a lot of issues. I said, and Chris and Brian and Greg, what's really low and below the belt is taking a guy's money for, I don't know, over 20 some years and not bringing him an ROI. I think that's low. So where are you going to go? I hope you're not going to go across the street, because that guy, Paul, he's an idiot. Trust me. We have people from him coming to us because he doesn't know what he's doing, and he's twice as much money. I'm not going to Paul. Are you going to Tom, like at the other side of Manhattan? I'm like, not going to Tom, because Tom is 10 times worse than us. And he never delivers anything. His deadlines are always missed. I'm not going to Tom. Oh, I hope you're not going to that joker across the bridge. I'm not going to anybody across the bridge. I'm actually going to somebody in my hometown, Franklin Lakes. Oh, you're going to get one of those people. Trust me, those people are horrible. They go in business, John, and then they're out of business in like a year or two. They're fly-by-nights. Well, there's a new company that just opened up called Neighborhood Publications. Yeah, I don't like it already. I can tell you they'll be out of business in a year or two. I give them maybe 6 to 18 months. Yeah, well, I think they're going to do pretty well. Who's the sales manager? And I give him the name, Tom something. He's like, oh, okay. Who's the owner of the company? John Morley. Who's the owner of the company? He said, well, take your hand away. So you might take my hand away. He's like, yeah, John Morley. He's like, oh, wow. He's like, I admire you. He's like, but bro, you don't know what you're doing. And you're getting in deep. You're getting in so deep. I don't want my big buddy to drown. I really don't. So I want to support you through this. So let's see if we can figure this out, because this is the wrong thing. No, it's not. Well, how are you going to print? You don't have anything. I have Xerox putting a whole print production system. You do, but you don't know anything about it. I said, well, actually, I went to school. Oh. I said, if you excuse me, I have another appointment with somebody that actually wants to print a book. So maybe we could talk again maybe in a few months or a year or two. Well, thank you, guys. I want to thank you so much. By the way, they tried to get me with 30% and 60% discounts for things in the past and things in the front, and that didn't appease me. So they knew they were really trying so hard to get my business. We failed for 2 years, which is no surprise. After that, he comes to me and says, John, he says, Sharon, I want to pop by and take you to lunch. I said, well, that would be so awesome if you took us to lunch. But why do you want to take me to lunch? Usually there's no free lunches. What do you want from me? Well, we want to talk to you, see how you've been. We miss you. I'm not coming back to you. No. We heard you're getting a lot of business. We are. Yeah, and we know you're not really experienced with media and press and all that kind of stuff. So we want to help you. We want to take some of that burden off your hands. We want to do the work for you. Keep your great name, and we'll do everything. So you want to take my hard-earned clients. You want to do the work. You want me to pay you. Then you want me to mark it up, and you're going to do the work. Yeah. So you want me to do that great reputation I built, just give it to you and have you just like trash it in a matter of like weeks. No, we're going to work with you and grow it. I got a concept for you. Why don't we take some of your clients, the ones that haven't paid you 60, 90, 180 days, the ones that are either going to sue you, the ones that are planning to leave you, the ones that you haven't done anything for probably in months, look at their profiles, see if we can turn their campaign around, figure out an ROI plan, implement it, and show them some profits, and retain your client. Oh, by the way, you can keep your name, the advertising, and we'll just do it blind. How's that sound for a concept? John, that's above my pay grade. I said, yes. So I think probably the conversation we're having right now shouldn't be with you then. You're probably not the person I should be dealing with. I probably should be dealing with management. Okay, we'll let them know. Sounds great. So there's probably no need to go to lunch then. Yeah. So all this kind of happened and transpired, and that's where I am today. I wanted to build a full print production, marketing, graphic, digital design, and video company that could be JMOR's marketing arm. When we get guests on, we transcribe the shows, we put pre-videos together. We have a gentleman coming on the end of this month who wrote the book, How to Kill Remotely by Drones. Very hard book to read. Took me 6 months to read it because it's so emotional. We did 10 pre-sequels to him coming on the air. So that's a little bit about me and how I got here.
That's awesome. And you are a natural storyteller, and I love the process in which you've taken us through your journey. And thank you for painting the picture of really stepping up for yourself and having your own way, your own voice, your own everything. That's very, very remarkable. Let's transition, John. I want to know what knowledge would you like to share with my audience today? And we want to challenge them to take action based on that knowledge. Obviously, so you've got two superpowers. You've got charisma and knowledge, and you've got this amazing ability to connect dots and find solutions. I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because this is going to help a lot.
So I have a lot, but the first one I want to share with you is something I didn't learn. And you're probably gonna be like, you didn't learn this? I only learned it about 5 or 6 years ago. Successful person. Remember, I only became a serial entrepreneur 11 years ago. What's the difference between entrepreneur and serial entrepreneur? Well, entrepreneur is someone who is passionate about a business. It's not a business owner. If you want to own a business, you're not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is someone who takes accountability, responsibility in themselves, their team, their company, and takes a vision and propels it forward to give value for what people want. A business owner just sells stuff and hopes they make a profit. I'm not a business owner. Serial entrepreneur is somebody that has that vision and realizes maybe there's a problem. Maybe I need to open something else. Maybe there's something that's blocking this company. What was blocking JMOR? Promotion. Nobody knowing what they did. 3 years ago, I became a member of the International Press Association. And 9 out of 10 of my press releases reach page 1 in less than 24 hours. My knowledge that I want to share with you today is that 5 or 6 years ago, I had, and this is the first story, I had a gentleman, and he said to me, John, and I'm president of the Franklin Lakes Chamber of Commerce. He said to me, John, he says, can you come to my office? I said, yeah, sure. I said, no, I didn't rush over to his office. I said, I can see you next week sometime. Tuesday at 1 o'clock, good, or maybe Friday at 3:30. Oh, Tuesday's your first appointment? Yeah, Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Now, I had other appointments, but I was making him wait because I knew there was something he wanted from me. He had never helped me before. So I said, I'll come Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And about a few months ago, I had designed this local campaign to help bring local business in. And I figured he was going to talk to me about this campaign and how he wants to launch it. And I was real excited about it. I get into his office, sit down, and he goes, John, how are you? I said, I'm great. I said, what can I do for you? He says, he goes, John, how many people you have in the chamber right now? I see the chamber that I had to rebuild from scratch, that everyone pretty much screwed over and that people were stealing from and people were all getting scholarships that didn't deserve them. You mean that chamber? I have about 20 members right now. Yeah. I was thinking about that and talking that over with the rest of the board. We're thinking maybe you should just toss the towel in on that. That's nice of you, but I run it. No, we know that. And that's what we're just hoping to know when you might, figure that it might be enough's enough. Like when you're just going to give up. He said, well, before we get an answer on that, he says, I just want to let you know that you remember the local program that you put together a few months ago? He says, oh, thank you very much, by the way. I said, well, you're welcome. We're launching it and you're not. I said, excuse me? You heard me. So John's not launching it. Your chamber's not launching it. We're launching it. Oh, okay. Can we work along with you? No, you can't. So we can't get some credit. Like we can't like get some value from it. No, we're going to do it solely with our people, our staff, and our state money. I said, okay. So then he says, John, so when are you going to give up? When are you going to realize that there's no place for you here? And I don't know how you guys are all feeling, but that kind of gives you a bad taste in your mouth. It kind of makes your heart kind of change its pattern. And I said to him, sir, I said, can you just give me a minute? I want to give you the exact day, hour, minute, and second that I'm going to give up. Can you just give me a few minutes? Close my eyes like this. I sit back. A couple minutes, I come back. He says, you have an answer? I said, just give me a minute. I'm almost there. I don't want to lie to you. I want to give you the exact time that I'm going to give up. He's in his chair and he's like having his water or his drink. So I get all ready. I'm in the chair. I sit up and he's all sitting up. And I said, you want to know when I'm going to give up? He says, yes, that's what we're waiting for. I said, I'm going to tell you. He says, well, that's great. He says, now you're being sensible. Yeah. I'm going to give up, sir, when a little baby boy or a little baby girl tells their parents that they don't want to walk anymore. He gives me all kinds of looks. He goes, when the blank is that? I said, well, I think you have 2 children, right? A boy and a girl. He says, yeah. Okay, so can I ask you a question? He says, sure. When have they ever told you that they want to give up or decide that they don't want to walk? They're obviously walking now, but when did they tell you that they wanted to give up and decide they didn't want to walk? He's like, giving me all kinds of funny looks. He's like, I said, when was it? He says, never. I said, I knew that you were a very intelligent man from the moment I shook your hand a few years ago. And that's when I'm going to give up. He goes, John? I said, yes, sir. You're arrogant. Now get out of my office. So what did that mean? You could have taken that 2 ways. You could say, gee, oh my gosh, I can walk with my head between my legs. No, that's what they want you to do. That's what they're programming me to be. I'm not a stand-up guy. I do what needs to be done. I don't do because somebody else tells me to stand up. I stand up for what I believe in. So I realized I wasn't going to have a support. And I said, okay, I guess we'll do what we need to do without you then. Thank you so much for your time. And we became cordial. And I'm not the political type, but very cordial and back and forth. And there's been some little things here and there. And they always try to get me on things and tell me I'm doing something wrong. And I said, you know what? I said, this is getting crazy. But, this taught me something that I learned 5-6 years ago. I learned that if everybody likes you, you're not going to be successful. You need at least 1, 2, or 3 people that either they might dislike you, not hate you, or they might be concerned about you. They might be worried. They might be threatened, not for your life, but they just feel like, what are you up to? And if you don't have those people, you're not going to be successful. You need to bring your A game every single day. What did I do? I brought my A game. I grew the chamber. And now when I go back to them and I say, gee, could you put this in the newsletter? I know you're probably really full with space and you don't have time for our little charity in there. But if there happens to be a little room, could you sneak us in a corner? And sometimes they'll come back and say to me, oh, we're really full. I said, that's okay. No problem. I understand the charities don't mean nothing to you, but I appreciate it. We'll ask you again. If there's ever room in a corner, just, stick us in there somewhere. Another time we had our website and we were doing a food drive. And the media came and they said, John, they said, you're doing all this great work. I said, yes. Why aren't you on the blank's website? I said, that's an amazing question. I have been asking myself that question since I took this over about a year ago. Yeah, so what's the answer? Well, I don't have an answer because I've reached out to them and they never got back to me. But, I think this might be an appropriate time, if that be okay with you guys. Let's pop their phone number below. And why don't we give them a call? They're open today. And let's ask them why our chamber's not listed on the website. Yeah, that's a great idea. All right, so you heard it. Give that number a call. Who should they ask for? They should ask for this, and I'll even give you the extension number. That afternoon, they got 500 phone calls. They were cursing me out. But you know what happened within 2 hours? Our website was smack there under organizations. So, yes, there's politics. There's always going to be politics. But I tell people this, I don't do things for a political reason. I had my dad, who I respect very much, elected official. He did that, and he also was going to do assembly. He decided not to. I learned there's a lot of bad people in politics. Not my dad, but there's a lot of people that play you. So I just say to people, look, I'm doing this for the reason to help myself and to help others. I'm not doing it for political gain. And when I say that, they get all huffy. Oh, well, John, what do you say? I'm not badgering anybody. I'm just telling you why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to become famous. I'm not doing it to be in the newspaper. If that happens, great. And so you got to bring your A game. That's the most important thing. The second thing I want to share with you is, how many of you out there said you want to achieve a goal, right? Maybe you want to make some money, but you say, or you want another house. Oh, I can't. As soon as you put the word can't in there, you're telling the universe I don't want it. Think of the universe. If you've ever gone to a restaurant, I'm sure we've all gone there, and you say, oh, gee, I'll have, I'll have tomato bisque soup, and I'll have filet mignon with roasted potatoes. So you put your order into the universe. Okay, you don't keep checking with, hey, is my order ready yet? Is my order ready yet? Is my order ready yet? No, you let the order cook, and it comes out. So you put the order into the universe. How do you do that? Intention. I recommend that everybody writes down 300 of the goals they want, not what they believe they can have, what they want before New Year's each year. Each quarter, go over that and check off the things that you've actually done. You'll surprise yourself. Now, what this also does is it makes you infectious in a positive way. People get curious about you. They wonder why you're doing things. And so why did I launch the video thing? I launched the video thing because I wanted a vehicle to get out there and to show people that they can become better versions of themselves. That's why I launched Inspirations for your life. And JMOR Tech Talk is a tech show because I love technology. I love to bring people on to help people because there's so many people talking about technology, but they're giving you wrong information. Because I always say to people in all the companies I own, I'm not going to try to get you involved in something that's just going to put money in my pocket. I want something that's going to build a long-term quality relationship with us forever and have you refer me to your friends. But where I'm going with this negative thing is, if you are saying negative things and you don't know if you are, get a journal, write down, catch yourself. I can't, no, wait, I don't want to say that. I'm wanting to know, like you said, well, gee, how do I do that? Don't say, well, that's not even possible. Okay, what would it look like if I was successful? What would it look like if I was driving my Ferrari? What would it look like if I had a speaking position on stage? What would it feel like? So there's another great thing I've learned is that it's feeling first, manifesting second. You see, your heart, which actually pumps our blood every day. I know that from studying to become an EMT, but I've known that before as well. Your heart is actually more than a pump. It is the catalyst to drive our body to create our desires. So when we take a manifestation of what we want, I always say focus it in your heart center, and then it will carry up to the brain. Your brain is actually what makes you achieve your goals, not your brain 100%. Your brain, 95% of it is what runs the body, but the heart is what propels those thoughts to control. So if you're in life and saying, gee, John, I can't do this, or I'm not able to do this. Okay, today this is a little challenging. What do I need to know to achieve my goal? See how that language changes? And so when you change your language, it puts you into this peak state. Last thing I want to share with you, and I think it's really vital. We've all been in peak states, okay? And before I share this, I want to tell you one thing. If you have somebody like a friend, a colleague, an associate, partner, significant other, wife, partner, whatever, usually you won't do this with your partner, but let's say that they're negative. You say, look, I understand that you're having a bad day or there's a challenge. Great. I need you to focus on the positive because, see, I'm not going to hang around you if you're going to keep being negative. So I just want to let you know that. Next time, remember I asked you to stay positive when you're around me? Yeah, John. Okay, no problem. I don't think we should hang around anymore. Well, what do you mean? No, just you don't have the vibe for me. And the last two important points I want to share is, have you ever stubbed your toe at home? If you stub your toe or you hit yourself or you knock water down, you're probably going to curse, oh my gosh, I did this. And what do? You stub it, you're like, oh my gosh, oh, it's going to be a horrible day. So now you bump your elbow. Now you're in the shower and you burn your arm back and you get cereal and you spill the milk and all these things happen. You miss your meeting because you ripped your shirt because the milk got on your shirt and the coffee spilled and it's a mess and the whole day dominoes. Look at it as a bump in the road. When you go over a bump and you drive, you say, oh my gosh, I had a bump in the road. You know, we had a bad bump 7 months ago. You don't talk about the bump. It's a bump. We move on, right? So we need to do the same thing in our life. It's a bump. I knocked the darn glass over. I've knocked the framer. Okay, I knocked the framer over. It's still going to be a great day. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to clean it up, and I'm going to have a great day. And I don't think people get it. So the last thing I want to share with you is to anchor yourself. So the easiest way to do this is to basically take your thumb and index finger and take your where your hands come together, and you can just kind of hold there. And so what you need to do is basically you can close your eyes, keep mobile, and just keep thinking of things you want to achieve in your life. Maybe it's money. So maybe it's a new car. Maybe you can picture yourself going to the showroom. Picture yourself right there. Picture yourself with the salesperson. Picture yourself, because now this time it's different. You're there yourself. You can have any car, any options, any price tag. How does that feel inside? I mean, the adrenaline's feeling so amazing. And now once you drive that car, you can already feel what that's going to be like. Pulling out of the showroom, going to your favorite restaurant, having the valet park the car. And yes, that's my car. That's my Porsche. And so that feels so great. And just knowing that you're full of abundance and knowing that everything in life is going to lead to more abundance. And so all you need to do is just realize that. And now at that moment where you feel you're going to burst because that adrenaline and those dopamines losing your brain, can you feel yourself just at that peak moment? Release yourself. And that will create an anchor. Now, all you do is connect again, and you'll bring that feeling back. You may need to do that 5 or 6 times. Let's make our life a commitment to do things, whether it's exercise, whether it's goal setting. Realize to get the can't words out, to get the negative out of our brain. If we take those steps every day, oh, John, I don't have time. I'm so busy. I get that you're busy, okay? But you are where you are right now because of what you thought in the past. If you change today, I can promise you tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, it's going to be better. People that have financial struggle, oh my gosh, I got these bills. I can't pay this. I can't pay this. I can't pay this. What do you get? Universe says, okay, can't pay it. Great. We'll send you more bills you can't pay. You just said I can't pay it. You just said I don't have money. You just told the universe you don't have it. Great. We'll make sure you don't have any. So now you can say, gee, I got the bill. Great. And I'm paying it. And I'm starting to feel good because I know more money's coming. The last phrase I'm going to leave with you is this. My day is getting better every single time. So each day is getting better and better. And a mantra that I repeat all the time, and it's helped me, and it continues to help bring abundance in my life. Large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all that I get to keep. Large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all that I get to keep. Large sums of money, picture it coming in, ATM, money, falling, whatever, come to me easily and quickly. You don't want to have it to take a long time. From multiple sources. You don't want to just come from one place on a continuous basis, not just once. You want it to come in increasing amounts. So large sums of money come to me in increasing amounts, not just $1, from multiple sources on a continuous basis for the good of all. We never want money to come to us or something to happen to us that's positive if it's going to harm, hurt, or defame or hurt another person that I get to keep. Because sometimes people get money, but then they got to spend it as soon as they get it. So our language can change us. And no person in the world can be peak all the time. That's why you need to use hacks like this little technique to anchor you. Some of the greatest speakers on stage are not in a great mode. Maybe something happened in their life. Yeah. Anchor yourself, and you are guaranteed to bring in the success that you want.
Very, very well said. Thank you, John. And I was basking that in, and I appreciate the knowledge you've poured into our listeners, the action that they can take, and thank you for your time. I'm really, really excited to share this content with our listeners. If you guys are listening to this, you can contact or get to know or even see any one of his programs, what he's doing, and you really want to go check him out. He is can be found at Linktree/John C Morley, serial entrepreneur. And for those of you who know Linktree is spelled linktr.ee with the / John C Morley, serial entrepreneur, which was clearly defined today in this session. John, thank you so much for your time. And again, thank you for all the knowledge you poured into us. I'm just really grateful for your awesomeness and for the willingness you have to share and connect with others. That's a beautiful thing.
John, it was my pleasure. I am so grateful that you asked me to come on to speak to your audience. And I want to let you know that a new book is coming out in a few months.
Great. Tell us all about it.
25 gifts of inspiration to change your life and everyone else in it. And it's actually based on a stream that I started just before Christmas. Every day, I actually took a gift and I gave it to myself. Little dollar store gifts. The first one I gave was a trash can. I wrapped it up. So I wrapped the present. I opened it up on air. And that one was showing you that you need to get rid of things in your life, people, things, activities. The last one on the 25th day was a cracker. Like you might have seen if you're at, in England, they have these, we have them every year. I unwrapped it, pull it, and I said, your life has to have surprise and it has to be spontaneous. So I gave people tips. The book is going to be pretty cool. Again, I'm still writing it. It's my first book. It's been on my mind for a while, but I feel that it's something that I think is going to help us because that's why we're all here, everyone. We're here to become better versions of ourselves and to help other people become better versions of themselves without harming, hurting, or defaming another person. That doesn't mean don't be competitive. It just means not to disrespect another individual.
Well said. Thank you. I'm going to drop the mic, John. That was amazing. Appreciate you guys. Go to visit more and learn more about John C Morley by going to Linktree / John C Morley, serial entrepreneur. Looking forward to seeing that book, and we'll be in contact, John. And I can't wait to pick it up, and maybe we'll bring you back on the show to talk more about that because that sounds.
It was a pleasure being here, John. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody. We'll see you later on the Circle of Knowledge podcast.